Hello everyone, this is Princess here, and for today's video we are going to be talking about the new force weapon, which is going to be for Core. Originally I was going to just talk about his whole kit, but since he's already in Global, I felt it would just be pointless to talk about. So for this video it's just going to be talking about his force weapon, and then the boss for his Shinryu. So let's get started. Alrighty, so Core's force weapon is called the Toei no Yaiba, which sounds very similar to Kimetsu no Yaiba. This will grant the force skill Welcome Coincidence, with his force partner being Gilgamesh. So it is a 6-hit AoE Brave split HP attack dealt 3 times, and it deals more damage on single targets. So for the force time, you have a 40% chance to deal cap Brave damage, which is just rainbow numbers. It also raises the party's Brave damage and their Brave and HP damage resist. And then for the bonus, so you get 10% at the start, 20% when a party member deals over 9k Brave damage in a hit, and then 2% when triggering an additional attack outside of their turn per triggered attack. So for the boss, you will be fighting the Liquid Warrior. It's a reskin of the Tyrant type enemy. It has no weakness or resistances, but it can summon a long sword at certain points, and it mainly uses a lot of water-based attacks that can lower your water resist. And then for its recast skill, so this can change depending on if the sword is present or not. So if the sword is not present, it will use Mighty Cobalt Wall, which is an AoE Brave attack that raises stats. And then if the sword is present, it becomes Mighty Cobalt Wall Plus, where it will dispel all of its buffs, removes all the target's buffs, so all of your buffs basically, including your frame buffs, and then deals a guaranteed AoE Brave HP attack that can raise its own stats while also lowering yours. So as soon as that sword is present, make sure to kill it quickly before its recast goes off, or else you're gonna have to restart the fight. Okay, so then here's the sword enemy. It's called the Liquid Blade. So for its attacks, it can delay you with its plus variant attacks, and it can also use Liquid Barrier, which is just a Brave shield. This should not be a problem if you have high enough Brave damage, or if you're just dealing cap Brave damage. But either way, like I mentioned, just make sure to kill the sword first before the main boss. Okay, so for the force weakness, you want to use a melee force that deals more than 9k Brave damage, and then going into force time. So when you do this, the boss will use Shutdown, where it will lower its Brave damage resist and its defense. Then for the gauge, so at 1 out of 5, it will lower your attack, 2 out of 5 lowers your Brave gain, and then 3 out of 5 raises the party's Brave damage. And then for its force time, it will use Mighty Cobalt Wall plus, and then go into force time for 5 turns. Now, key thing I want to tell you about this force attack is that it's not a guaranteed hit, and it doesn't ignore defense either, so you can just bypass it with damage reduction or evasion. And then during force time, it just raises Brave and HP damage by 100%. Not anything too scary or annoying. So with that being said, I'm going to head over to JP, and I'm going to showcase Core's force. I will be right back. Okay, so we're back on JP now. So this was the main team that I constantly ran throughout JP for a very long time. It was mainly just for pure fun, for damage dealing. They don't really contribute to anyone's force bonus. But anyway, so here's my Core over here, and I have him completely blued. And then for spears, if you're curious, I gave him his own spear, Raijin's, and then Ash. And he does have his force on him as well. And I have Terra here because there's something that I want to show off that I personally like to do whenever I'm running Core. So give me a quick second. Okay, so I did pause for a second just to charge the force gauge. So what I mainly like to do is, before using any of Core skills, I will always put Oath of Absolute Defense on Terra. You can also do this with Tidus as well. I just did it with Terra because I did not have Tidus's force in JP. So what I do is, once Oath of Absolute Defense is on Terra, I use her LD, and then it's just going to be this backwards and forwards of Terra getting consecutive turns while Core is just doing follow-ups. So, as an example, so Core does his follow-up, and then Terra goes in with Chaos Wave, And what's nice about this is that, remember, Terra's LD does extend buffs. So if we look at, where is it? Oath of Absolute Defense is right over here. So now it's extended for 7 turns. So now you can just go nuts with damage, do either Meltdown or Meteor, depending on the number of bosses there are, if you're nitpicky about it like I am. And then, yeah, that's basically it. You just blather, rinse, and repeat. It's a very, for me, I always found it very fun, but after running it for so long, it does get boring very, very quickly. So I'd say don't do this all the time. I'd say I mainly did it when there was a Shinryu that I knew I could beat with this team, and there wasn't any sort of like annoying gimmicks or how do I say it, like turn warping or like threshold attacks. That's mainly whenever I did it. And then if you're wondering what's the reason for bringing Gladio, mainly just for, what was it, just for like covers and like damage reduction and counters, because I am biased towards him. He is one of my favorite tanks to use. Alright, so now I'm just going to let this play out for a bit, and then when the gauge is maxed, I will be right back. Okay, so the gauge is fully maxed out, so here is Welcome Coincidence. So there's Core, and there's Gilgamesh. And then Gilgamesh just lets Core borrow his 35, and Gilgamesh does not do anything, he just stands there in the back. So, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that force animation, sorry. But yeah, now with his follow-ups, he is going to raise the gauge up by 5%. So if you're in a fight where enemies get a lot of turns, that's where he can really benefit with his force. And he can also benefit with like other off-turn damage dealers. So if you have like Gladio with you, or if you're using Reno, that's another good party member for him. Another thing I want to mention is that whenever I'm running Core with Terra, the best thing I like about him now is that with his rework, his overhead effect just now needs 7 levels. Originally it needed 10, but now it's just at, you just need it at 7. So you can easily get him closer to, I'm stumbling over my words, I'm sorry. You can easily get him up to 7, and then he can quickly use Reaper's Gale. So yeah, that's about everything I wanted to mention. Just right over here. Another thing that's nice is that Gladio can also raise the gauge up by 5% with his counters. And then if you really like wanted to see some really like fun stuff that I've done, so I have this small video where I did Rubiconte's Shinryu run in JP, and I was running a team of Gladio, Core, and Kane, and I was using Core's Force the whole time. And the bosses got a lot of turns, so it was very, very easy for me to get the gauge up really high and just easily beat the bosses. So if you want to see that, I'll have a link to it in the comments. But with that being said, that is going to be it for this video, so thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, let me know if you will be pulling for Core's Force, and I will see you all next time.